In the darkest nights, we find our light. Battered souls, but we won't lose sight. Surviving together, never alone. Through every trial, we carry on. Surviving together, never alone.
We hear you, and we believe you. Hey everyone, how are you doing today? This wonderful Saturday, at least here in Michigan, in the United States. It is beautiful. Welcome to Surviving Together. I'm going to master this top knot. If it kills me, I swear that or I'm chopping it all off. It's one or the other. So anyway, guys, welcome to our SAS community here today. It is probably going to be a little bit small because, oopsie, I forgot to make the live stream button. I so thought I did. Crystal is taking a self-care day, so she's not going to be here. Janet, I know, is traveling. Right now she's with us. That's wonderful. And don't cut your hair. At least need to get it trimmed. Yeah, it's been, I'm probably closing in on a couple of years that since I've done anything to it. So I got to at least get it trimmed and, healthy, make sure it's healthy and all that kind of stuff. So, how is everyone today? Crystal sounds like she's having a little bit of a hard day. Let's throw some ones up for her. She's doing some self-care today. She's going to catch us on the replay. So we're going to wish her very, very well and make sure that she takes care of herself. If you guys don't know, self-care, number one important thing. I always want you to take care of yourself first before engaging in any type of conversation, before listening to any of our conversations. Please, if you're feeling uncomfortable, remove yourself. It's not a conversation that it's the time for you to have. So take care of yourself. You didn't cut your hair for 5 years, Yadri? Wow. Wow. Hi, Tiffany. How are you? Not surprised you didn't get a notification. I ended up making the thumbnail for this, or the actual live stream button, about 2:58. So my bad. Sorry. I so thought I had made it. I could have sworn when I was in here on Wednesday that I had seen it already there. So I didn't even check this morning. Didn't even check. Just woohoo. That was it. You got out of the habit of it after the lockdown and then just couldn't be bothered. That's kind of where I am right now. Yeah, definitely where I am right now. It's just washing it is a bitch. To you guys who have never had really long hair, I mean, past your shoulders long hair, just Shannon, do not worry about it. I put up the button for the live stream about 2 minutes before 3. So I wasn't even sure if we were going to have people here today. So do not worry about it. Hang on, guys. I got to take a drink. I hope that wasn't too noisy. Neither is this going to be because I'm going to open my Rockstar. I have a lot of work to do today, guys. A lot of things I want to do. And I'm motivated and I'm going to do it. I'm gonna do it. One is my bedroom. That is my only chore, like house chore that I'm got myself geared for today is just putting away my clothes. So how is everybody else doing here? Janet's been traveling. So she is had a blast. But I won't tell you her life. That's for her to tell you. What is a rock star? Rock star is one of these. It's an energy drink, just like Monster or Red Bull. It's just generally a lot cheaper. I mean, these used to be like barely over $1, like $1.09 or whatever. I think they're $1.69 or something like that, 9 US, which it's getting up there, but it's not as bad as like $3 for a Monster or something like that. It's ridiculous. I know. And I am cutting them out of my diet. David and I have been cutting things out because he's got to not eat certain things before his surgery. So we've been cutting things out, and then we're going to continue to do after his surgery anyway. So it'll be good. It'll be good. And then he leaves. His ticket is to go out is November 15th. So he's. I said, "Oh, you're fleeing Michigan on opening day of gun deer season with guns." It just the timing made me laugh. It's just hernia surgery, Shannon. So it's nothing life threatening. Just get the belly put back where it should be and get that healed, and then it'll be a lot easier to develop the muscles and everything once the muscles are all sewn back up again. So, George, you've been nesting? Oh my gosh. Congratulations to you. Wow. The linen closet in the Spanish rental was a disaster. So I unpacked the whole thing and organized it. It took a whole day. Wow. Hi, Venus. How are you? Who's Layla? Did I miss somebody? Did I miss somebody who came in? Hi, Martha. How you doing? Oh, you guys are all just dribbling in. I'm so excited. I'm just thrilled that you're actually that you guys actually got the notification, or at least thought about it, and then thought to come on and see that, hey, there's a thumbnail now. Wow. Yeah, I didn't see. You're doing lousy. Oh, Martha, I'm so sorry. Do you want to talk about it? Is it something you want to bring up here, or something you want to talk about privately, or just put up some ones for you and move on to next? How you feeling? Yeah. Oh, Layla is your daughter, Venus. Okay, got it. All right. Well, welcome to both of you. So glad to have both of you here. Martha, I'm so sorry for what's going on. We'll try and give you a laugh or two while you explain, Martha. DeAudrey said that it's raining there, and her husband decided to go out in the rain and look for the cat, and the cat's hiding in the bushes, and we'll just be laughing at him. I think that's hilarious. And then we'll like dart into the door, right? You'll open it to see, come on, honey, are you coming in or whatever? And then the cat will just dart right by him. He'll turn really quickly and fall in the mud. And yeah, he'll either get up cursing or get up laughing. We'll see which one, right? Oh, that is funny. That is funny. Money and family can bring out the worst. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. when I worked for the Michigan Court of Appeals, I was a research attorney, so I worked behind the scenes for the judges, basically. And our longest running cases, like in terms of how many years these cases have been going on, were always probate cases. People fighting over stuff, fighting over family money, fighting over family stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. You've been through this before with family, with irreparable damage after. Yeah, it's not only family. I mean, it can get weird with family, don't get me wrong. I mean, especially when you've got different expectations. So I've noticed this now that I've been married a couple of times and had several really, really good friends. And people in a family with money, they either never expect to be paid back, and everybody knows that. If you ask for money, you are given money, and that's it. There's no expectation of it ever being a loan. There's other families where it is, if you ask for money, it's always a loan. Nothing is ever given. They'll sell it to you. So it seems to be, those different kinds of families there. Your daughter interned during legal studies with your YouTube lawyer, with your 81-year-old lawyer. What? Okay, whoa, 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 hold up. Were they in a relationship? She signed a contract with him without any idea. The lawyer divorced his wife for your daughter. Lawyer of 8.5 years? Is that what you? Not before you signed. It's true, Shannon. I mean, some people will never feel like they got a fair shake out of something, whether it's because they weren't named the executor of the will or a trustee, or whatever. They didn't get great grandma's tea set that they had so much wanted, and had told her their entire life that they had wanted. It's whatever. Yeah, we need a lot more details, Martha. You knew that they would get together. Okay. I'm still very confused. Yeah, I have no idea what this contract is for, or oh, in regards to the family's museum collection. Gotcha. Okay, I'm following. So, where do things sit with this contract? Oh, you didn't know that they would get together. So, what is the gist of this contract? I think it might be, Martha, you want to email me about this? You signed a 15% contingency contract. Oh boy. Is this for the sale of the museum collection, I'm assuming? Sorry for the quietness, guys. Sorry for the pauses. We were just trying to help one of our subs out with a situation. Yeah, never mix money and family. It can get ugly. I mean, unless your family has a history of either lending and paying back to each other, or just giving, like that's just the way that they are, and have done that successfully, I wouldn't risk it. Like, I gave my ex money. I hoped he would pay me back. I mean, gosh, that would be nice, but I never expected to see that money again. And, that's kind of the attitude my dad had when he would give family members large sums of money. Um, Small sums, it was always just a given. But if it's large sums, it was a loan, but he also really didn't expect, unless it was part of a business transaction, which to me, don't miss business and family. That is where it goes. And I think that the dispersal of the collection is kind of a business thing too. And it just never seems to work out. Yeah, it depends on the family, right? Depending on where who has money. My great aunt died. This is my dad's aunt on his side of the family. And she was uh, what they would call spinster aunt. She never married. She was just single her entire life. And she had very unique sizes, like 7.5. Her shoe size was 7.5 triple A. So really super, super narrow feet. She was very frail. You look at her and you say like bird lady type thing, Everything was frail on her. I mean, I have thin wrists. Maybe you can't tell, here, but I have super thin wrists. Hers were even smaller than mine, which is just amazing. Um, so when she passed away, and she had a lot of nice things, she was a CPA, she had done well for herself, she had a lot of investments. The physical things were actually in her townhouse in her brownstone in Chicago. There were members of that side of the family that just came in and took stuff that they wanted. This wasn't like after the will had been read and they had been bequeathed it, so they came in and took what they wanted, or, took what was theirs, what had been bequeathed. No, they just came in and took what they wanted. And for the most part, other family members just said, fine, whatever, keep it. It wasn't worth the fight. I think there was one or two items that were specifically willed to somebody else, so it was like, no, 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 come on, give it back. Those aren't yours. Those are not yours. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, that's awful. I'm sorry, Martha. Oh, yeah. I wish I could have, better words for you than just, I wish you luck. You deal with them at an arm's length, and um, really, set your boundaries strict with this in terms of how you need to deal with this to protect yourself mentally. You know, you've you suffered a real big blow with this. Um, Absolutely, 100%. And again, if you want to just go blah in an email and let me, just put it out there, feel free to email me. Or we can also get on a one-on-one sometime if you need. All right. Feeling betrayed by your family is absolutely awful. My dad always tried to help. He was the oldest of four, and he always tried to help out the family. I don't know what happened. All I know is there was some deal. I think it involved some land or maybe a house and the land amongst family members, and it caused a big row, and a bunch of people didn't talk to each other for quite a long period of time. And I remember when it kind of got put aside finally. Everybody just agreed to put it aside. I think, my grandfather was getting older, and, family members hadn't seen each other in some time, and nobody was getting any younger. And I'm glad that they, I'm glad that they, at least mostly repaired that relationship. Although my aunt has disowned the family, I guess. And I even reached out to her to see if, maybe since I'm not her brother, I'm her niece, maybe that we could have connection that way, but didn't respond. So that's her choice. That's her choice. And those are her boundaries, and I will respect that. There's nothing I can do about that. You know your boundaries and you know what to do. Just sharing. Absolutely. Thank you. No, we appreciate you sharing. And by you sharing, we're going to give you all the love and hugs back and sending you good juju. That's what I am doing for my bestie. And I would like good juju sent out to him. If you could send good juju out to my bestie David. He's having surgery on Tuesday. Like I said, I may or may not be here Wednesday for the live. Just depends on how things, go. Hopefully, as long as everything is right in line where it should be, I'll be here for the live, no problem. So cross our fingers, should be awesome. Time to step back for a while from it. Yeah, sometimes it's the best thing that you can do. We put ourselves out there, and we give so much, and we want to you want to be involved, and you want to do the right thing, and it's hard when you can't, when there's circumstances that are preventing you from doing that. I'm sorry, Shannon. Yeah, it happens in a lot of families, doesn't it? Family trying to help family, and either things not working out the way that everybody wanted them to, through nobody's fault. Maybe they were all buying something, and then they were going to fix it all up, and they were going to sell the house back again, and the housing market crashed, and all of a sudden you're underwater, and no one's got money for it. What do you do? It's yeah, hugs and love for everybody. We'll just say that, hugs and love for everybody out there today who needs it. Well, remember, whoa. Was that just my eyes, or did the screen get blurry? Could have just been my eyes. Oh, that was weird. That was weird. Let me know if the screen went blurry for anybody, because otherwise, I think I just had a floater that just probably went from one side of my eye to the other or something very odd. I don't know if anybody actually saw the thumbnail that I put up. I want to adjust it a little bit, but I didn't make this one, and Janet did. But she's traveling, all across Canada from one side to the other. So we can't make her redo it now, but hopefully sometime maybe this week, get her to add more on it. Oh, your bandwidth is a little difficult, so you're not really sure. Oh, that can be a horror. That's tough. Money makes people do weird stuff. Money makes normal people greedy little machines who you would never think that they would have that side to them, that they're always giving and just so loving. But sometimes you dangle numbers in front of people and they just and two, luck can depend on where they are in their life too, as well, right? Circumstances can dictate a whole lot. If you're financially stable yourself at that point in time, even the bigger numbers may not sway you from you and who you are and your morals. But sometimes, uh, if it's a matter of feeding yourself or just been scraping by so much, and you dangle those numbers that could be life of luxury, that's very difficult for some people to put aside. Martha, you are welcome. And we're going to take this as a little bit of a learning moment, everybody. So, don't know if this happens to you. And because I am bound and determined to grow as a person, I need to know the answer to this. So you can read this and go, thank you so very much for helping. And I can hear the gratitude in your voice. Then there's the other side of me that says, this is your really polite way of saying, thank you. I've said my piece on the subject. I don't want to say any more. Stop talking about it now. Thank you so much. Because I don't always pick up on social cues, I need to know which one it is. And it's okay if it's both as well, really. So if it is the latter, don't feel embarrassed. It's really truthfully, I'm learning this. I'm using this as a learning experience. So I am learning with ADHD and just with how it's manifested itself in me, or the ADHD like traits. It I second guessed myself on a lot of things and my behaviors that I just always thought were me, that now I'm like, okay, wait a minute, is that an ADHD thing? Or is that something different? Or is that something normal? So it's like I mean, like, I'm so confused right now on my behavior. I really do. I second guessed everything. It's pretty bad. I'll get back to normal. I swear I will get back to normal. It's just been feeling a little off with that lately. Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you. So worldwide stats. I spoke briefly about possibly doing them today, and yeah, those have been tabled for a little bit. I'm going to do some more research. It's going to take a while to get into some individual countries. So we did some initial stats. I have a feeling the worldwide stats are going to be just as depressing. So let's table that for a little bit, and we'll just toss that one on down the road a little ways, and we'll hit a depressing day later on. Next week, next Saturday is Laugh Saturday. So first Saturday of every month. So it will be the 2nd, I do believe. Yes, November 2nd. And then the 3rd, I believe, is turn back clocks if you are in daylight savings time. So there are some helpful announcements for you. So definitely make sure I'll announce that next week. I feel like I'm doing my PSA of the 70s and 80s again, right? Okay, I'll take your answer, Martha, as that was your nice way of saying be quiet about the topic, which is okay. Sometimes I need those nudges. There's been some things I do that drive David absolutely bonkers, and that I've tried to stop. But it's hard because I do it and I don't even realize it, and so he really has to, like, every time remind me, until occasionally I'll catch myself before he does. Working on it. I'm working on it. Let's see. Best to you, DeAudrey. Best to you. At least we're gaining an hour. That's the benefit you've got of doing daylight savings time now. It would really suck if you were starting in the spring and your first experience was losing the hour, because that bites. It does. Everyone hates it. The UK changes on a different day. Okay, I won't speak for Ireland, but for the United States, we fall back. It's fall back, spring forward. So you fall back, you get an extra hour. So yeah, you get to sleep an extra hour. And it's always on a Sunday or Saturday night, right? Saturday night to, and then on Sunday it's a different. So Saturday night you get a different, get the extra hour. I mean, yeah, definitely, definitely check your local information and make sure that you don't have a different day than we do. What else do we say? Oh, if any of you out there, or if any of you know anybody who is good at video editing, has some spare time on their hands, wants to help somebody out, I could definitely use some help with that. I have a lot of material to go through, and I'd like to pull some shorts from it, pull some shorter videos from it, because I know that there's some of that I just talk for blocks of periods that just need, a few asides to be, taken out, and there'll be a good video that I don't have to actually reshoot for a topic, that sort of thing. So if anybody wants to help out with that or knows anybody, just email me, survivingtogethersass@gmail.com. And that brings me into the next thing. Make sure you hit that like button, guys, and subscribe if you haven't. Check your subscriptions. Um, I don't think that we've had any ups and downs lately. I think everything's going pretty well. We are almost, guys, we are almost at 2,000 watch hours. That's half of the watch hours that we need. I'm blown away. Blown away. I'm so excited. I'm absolutely so excited. So even if we don't do the monetization this year, even if it takes us, another 4 months into next year to do it, it's okay. I'm just thrilled. Usually, at least for me, my experience with daylight savings time, since I've been doing it my entire life, actually, is it's like, because you get to sleep an extra hour, you're not quite as tired. So you end up staying up a little later. So you're like a little off. But since it's only an hour, it's not too bad. You force yourself to stay up a little later, so you are a little more tired, or, whatnot. Um, it's not too well. Oh, because then you'll be 2 hours out of sync with everybody back home. Yeah, that does suck. Well, and it's like here, Arizona does not change time. So if you guys are members of the Lifeboat, or you watch that show, watch their channel at all, they always post everything on Pacific time, which is California time, because they don't change. And so it gets confusing. Sometimes they're 2 hours behind, sometimes they're 3. And I know this because I have an office, sister office to where I work in Arizona. So I always have to ask, are you guys 2 hours or 3 hours behind us right now? Neither is Hawaii and Puerto Rico. Neither is Indiana, or parts of Indiana. That one confuses me. There are some places where it's like one city does it. It's rural areas. It's weird, but yeah. Very strange. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, that's it for housekeeping, except for this one. Now, I'm going to be putting this in my video description with all of my video descriptions from now on. I've had, several people speaking to me about this, and I finally bit the bullet and decided to go ahead. Surviving Together has its own PayPal account, guys. So if you ever feel like donating, you want to financially support this channel, and believe me, I know times are tough, and if you can't, absolutely no hard feelings. Oh my gosh, do not feel like you have to. All right. But Surviving Together's username was available. So all you have to do is put in for the username when it says username and it's got that @ symbol, Surviving Together. Boom. And you're right there with us. I'm so thrilled that it was available. Very happy. So I'll put that link up because even with monetization, super chats are nice for, getting the person's attention when you've got 1,000 people or whatever. But otherwise, YouTube takes 30% of anything that's donated through them. That's a chunk, that's a real chunk when you're, only doing like little numbers and things. So yes, I finally set up the PayPal account. And I'm starting my own wine cellar, except it's not in the basement. It's on my main floor. But I've always wanted to have one. I had one, and then I got divorced, and that got split up. And then I had one, and I married an alcoholic, and so it got all drank on me. And now I think I'm finally getting one for myself. I'm just so thrilled. You've asked Google so many times, what time is it in Arizona? Oh my God, that's funny. Yeah, because I have so many times as well. Chances part of Indiana does, and the suburbs of Chicago. Go figure. Go figure. Yeah, that's right. Because my dad's side both my parents are from Chicago, and so the family roots there. But my dad's family stayed there for quite a while, and their roots. And so I always remember trying to go back, figuring out who's what time is it? What time is it going to be when we get there? Is it 4 hours to get there, 2 hours to get there, or 3.5? Who knows? Misha, welcome. So glad you're here. Stuck trying to get audio issues fixed on your drive videos. Ugh, that sounds awful. Best of luck. That's all I got to offer. Mark, welcome. So glad you're here. Yeah, we've just been talking about nothing for right now. Actually, we've just been batting things around, and I just let everybody know that yes, Surviving Together does finally have its own PayPal account. Bit the bullet, did it. Surviving Together's username is the username. So, it was available. And I was so thrilled. So that means it must have been the right time to do it. So, really grateful for that. And what else? So the rest of the time, what I got is Gisele Pelicot, guys. Do you remember? Were you with me? Did you watch the replay of her? This is the French woman who was essayed by her husband and a ton of people that he invited over into their bedroom in their home in rural France to essay his wife as she was unconscious. And I don't mean asleep, I mean unconscious, knocked out with drugs, usually several different kinds of drugs, and sometimes alcohol. It is an awful case. She has become a symbol of feminist fight, feminist survival, of female will, grit, and determination, and a face of change in France. Something that is much needed. And I am so in awe of this woman. She is 72 now, guys. 72. She didn't ask for this. When this case first started, she didn't even know that she'd been SA'd. All she knew is she thought she was losing her mind because of the decades of punishment that these drugs had been doing on her body and her mind and her brain. And she was losing chunks of time, and nobody could figure out what was going on with her. And she was with her husband, who was her rock, who was helping her through it, who took care of everything, who cooked for her, who cleaned when she couldn't, who took her to all of her doctor's appointments. He was wonderful. And as they tried to figure out what was wrong, he sat there, knowing exactly what was wrong. And he said nothing. For over almost a decade. This case is truly horrific. They found, oh shoot, I don't have my notes from that, how many terabytes of images and videos that they found on the husband's, between his phone and his the hard drive of the family computer. I mean, just tons and tons, years and years and years worth. And then they also found out that he was not essaying, but at least filming members of his family as well, without their knowledge. So it just got even, worse. Right. And nobody ever thought she had horrible gynecological issues. Nobody thought to question, could this be an STD, an STI? Because she'd been married for 50 some odd years. And they say this case, her abuse began when she was 65 or something like that. That's when they have evidence from. Okay, that's when they have video evidence that they can prove, yes, it was happening here. Do you really think that is the absolute first time? Because I don't. Lord only knows how long this was going on for this woman. Absolutely 100% right, Deidre. This is the worst case of gaslighting I've ever heard of, because if you want to talk about manipulating somebody, I mean, my God, you're working too hard. You're just stressing yourself out. That was a good one. Exhaustion, stress, that was used a lot by the doctors. And of course he would go along with that. Yes, of course you've been worrying about the kids and you've been doing this, don't you know you need to stop. You need to just rest. I'll take care of everything. Here's something to calm you down. How much easier was it to give her medication to knock her totally unconscious when she's already on medication for other things and you're handling it for her? She's never going to second guess you. In regards to that, I want to read to you a little bit about what she said. The reason I'm coming back around to this is she testified in court this week, guys. She took the stand. And this is some of what she said. Let me get to where I need to be in this article. Hang on. Yeah, she said she was persuaded that she had the beginnings of Alzheimer's or a brain tumor. So, I mean, it's got serious. I mean, you start treating those types of conditions and you don't actually have it. I mean, geez. I mean, hopefully they would have scanned her head and figured out that she didn't have one. I don't know how they could say tumor without actually seeing a tumor. Um, Shoot, I thought I had everything pulled right up for me to where I had it exactly right. Yeah, so things with kids, Dominic Pelicot, others. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Oh, Maki, absolutely. There's evidence that the husband did this with other women. So other husbands invited him to come over and essay their wives. So not only was he doing it to his own wife, but he was participating in this with other people. Now, I don't know if it was a simultaneously or he started doing other people and then he's like, hey, yeah, we'll do my wife. I don't know about any of that, but um, he'd been at this a long, long time. And if not actually doing it, playing it out in his head. This is what Gisele had to say in terms of her life before she found out about any of this. She said she believed him to be the perfect man. So many times I said to myself, how lucky I am to have you by my side, for he was someone I trusted entirely. I would have stayed 50 years if he had behaved. I wouldn't have stayed 50 years if he had behaved like a violent brute. I never would have imagined a man could do this. The profile of a rapist is not someone met in a car park late at night. A rapist can also be in the family, amongst our friends. She said, when asked how her husband was able to keep this from her, she said the answer appeared to boil down to trust. She said, often when there's a football match on TV, I'd let him watch it alone. He'd bring my ice cream to bed where I was. That was with my favorite flavor, raspberry. And I thought, how lucky I am. He's a love. I never felt my heart flutter. I didn't feel anything. I must have gone under very quickly. I would wake up with my pajamas on. The mornings, I must have been more tired than usual, but I walk a lot, and I thought that was it. She addressed her husband directly in court and said, how could you betray me to this extent? Bring these strangers into our bedroom. For me, this betrayal is immeasurable. I'm a woman totally destroyed. she she's incredible. She said that she was not about hate or anger, but just determination to change society, determination to change the conversation around SA. I want to play for you a little clip from some coverage on this that I think really summed some things up very well. I very much liked it. Let's see, where are we at? Dun, dun, dun. Hang on, I got to get it to. I had it queued up, but then it. Okay. Could you guys hear that audio? Could you hear the video audio? Or no, because I hadn't shared my screen. I'm wondering. Hey, Body Illusion, how you doing? Good to see you. You couldn't hear it. Okay, cool. That gives me an idea now on how this is working. All right, give this a listen. We're going to listen to two different pieces from this.
I would say it's a seismic moment. The thing is, in regards to the Me Too movement here in France, it never took off the way it did in the English-speaking world, or indeed in other parts of the world. But the thing about this particular case, and why it resonates so deeply, is that it impacted an ordinary woman and her family. And in terms of those who've been accused, which are scores of men, they effectively represent ordinary individuals. Most importantly, the fact that she waived the right to remain anonymous because she wanted to shift the shame, as she said, from the victim to the accused is itself amazing.
And the
Incredible, right? Incredible. Amazing, fantastic. I mean, like, how many adjectives can we use to explain this woman and what she has single-handedly done? 72 years old now. 71 when this whole thing started, when it came upon her. And she's effectively kicked off France's Me Too movement. You know, as this woman was saying, she's a presenter for a program called 51 on French television. And she, as she was saying, Me Too movement didn't kick off like it did here. You know, I mean, we had a pretty good movement with it, and we're still, you know, we've got a better discussion around it. People are more open to speaking about it, things of that nature. It's certainly going in the right direction. Does it have the steam that it had initially? No, it doesn't. But that's okay. Again, organic growth, right? We talk about that with the channel. I think with this, some of it's going to be, you know, organic growth with that as well. You can't push too much too quickly to get what you really, really need. But France needed a kick in the ass, right? And they're hoping that this is it. She has opened up the everyday person's eyes to the fact that abusers can be everyday people, that they can be your friends, they can be your family. How powerful is it for somebody who is being listened to on a national stage, on an international stage, to say that in court? If you need to turn the volume down because I'm getting really loud, go ahead. But I can't tamper myself down. I'm so passionate about this. It is amazing that she is able to do this. And again, and whether or not the steam continues, at what point it starts to taper off a little bit, is going to be solely dependent on the people there in France. She gets standing ovations when she comes out of court every day. There are protesters that are taking to the streets to demand change in France. It is an entire movement, and I could not be more honored to sit here and watch it unfold. I wonder if this was a little like people watching the Me Too movement here unfold. I mean, I'm really saddened by the way it got started, because from all accounts, it was really Amber Heard who kicked it off with false allegations against Johnny Depp. So that's interesting, right? We had a very interesting start to ours. France has a very interesting start to theirs too, but just with an absolutely incredible woman. So I'm really hopeful for things with them. I'll play you just a little bit more from this interview that the woman was giving, that is speaking about what is going on in France and exactly what the concerns are for French people. Okay, let me share my screen. I may not get sucked into that thing and play it. I was taking a video of the cat. You guys would have loved it. Cat and birds, and he was cackling at them. And of course, thought I was taking a video, and I really wasn't. Okay, let's go ahead with this.
The men using the defence that she had consented because her husband had said that it was okay and that she was pretending to be asleep. So the other thing this case has done is suddenly blown the lid off the whole notion of consent in French rape law, because there actually isn't any. There's no definition within the existing rape law about consent. And you have men in 2024 who believe that if the husband says, yes, you can go ahead and effectively rape my wife, is enough to be seen as consent, means that there's a lot of work to be done in teaching the notion of consent to men. And
Okay, so that is one commentator speaking in regards to what this will mean for the broader conversation in France. And a lot of it has to do with this, with the notion of consent. I want to clarify something, because a lot of people were there's been a lot of commentators that have kind of wondered about this, and what they're saying is that if you don't consent, it is against the law in France. What they're saying is consent itself, the word consent, is not in any of the SA laws. And so it certainly isn't defined anywhere. And that's what people want. And that's what protesters by the thousands have been taking to the streets to urge change, to urge legal change in the law. And the new justice minister of France, as well as the French president, have at least verbally put their support behind changes in the law. Now, of course, it's going to depend on what the changes end up being, how much support they'll end up being. I do not know a lot about the French political system to say how that goes. But I certainly hope that they're able to keep the pressure on to keep the momentum going for some positive change within the legal system in France. Beyond the legal system, within the social structure, France has a very patriarchal society. All right, we're very familiar with this. So this notion that, well, the husband said it was okay, so the assumption being that, well, if he says it's okay, then it must be okay with the wife. He wouldn't do anything against the wife's wishes. To me, that's where my brain goes, right? Not that he's giving consent on her behalf. I mean, what they're saying is, I'm not hearing her consent because she's asleep, passed out, whatever. So I'm going to assume consent through the husband. and he's given consent, and that's good enough. I don't need to hear it directly from the other person, because this is part of the game. They're passed out. That's the whole purpose of this, right? So saves time if they're already passed out and you get there. Mark, you were right, and I love this comment though. If you guys don't know, Mark is in Germany, so right next door. Says France loves to protest against injustice. Yes, they have a rich, deep, old history of protesting against injustices. So we can only hope that this does lead to change. I'm really interested to see, because like I said, I don't know how this needs to go through the political system. I don't know if they've got two different houses, they got one house, how many votes. I don't know any of that with French politics. What I do know is it will be interesting to see what types of things are argued for and against bill changes, and who is for or against them. What's the reasoning? If there is true movement on this, if there are bill changes introduced, I will be following this to the best of my ability. Being I don't speak French, because we've seen the issues that there were with in the UK, when there were some changes that were tried to be made because some people within that system were part of the illegal piece of it. So they don't want to make laws that are going to be stricter so if they get caught, they're going to get caught in that net. And we saw this with child laws, with child abuse laws here in the United States. Exactly. If anyone thought she was pretending to be asleep, they could have shaken her a little bit and asked her, or say, I need her to be awake. They set this all up ahead of time on the computer, and he even said, she'll be knocked out, but be quiet. Take your clothes off downstairs. Take your shoes off. Leave your cell phone in the car. Park down the street. Don't walk this way on this sidewalk and walk that way on that sidewalk, so that you don't set up any of the neighbors who have motion detectors. So don't want anybody to see you. I mean, this is planned down to the T. So yeah, if anybody actually cared to have gotten the wife's verbal consent, it was possible. They could have arranged it, but nobody did. Max says, in regards to the French political system broken down, he said the president has to stand behind it because he actually has the biggest power. Well, he's verbally said he's for change. Just have to see what the change is, right? And how much change he's for. And what kind of pressure stays on him up until the point, of if this kind of momentum and this pressure, keeps going all throughout, and they're able to get some bills, on the floor, and I'm speaking in U.S. language, by the way, get bills on the floor and get them talked about quickly, and really get some real change made. While all of this momentum is there, they got a much better chance at doing something with teeth than they do if this is a year or two down the road, right? Although it can come at any time, I mean, different things can pop up, and people are like up in arms again. Deandra, you're right. I mean, generally people don't make laws that don't benefit them. but they do have to worry about their constituencies. I'm guessing that there's something similar in France. And so if if all the cities, if there's protests in all the cities that are for this, it would be very hard for them to go against something like, a positive, something seen as a very positive change, and vote no and try and justify that to whoever's, behind them. That would be my guess, my understanding. Oh, that's happened before. That's happened before. I remember. The president can actually run the country for months if he just declares a state of emergency. I remember that happening. Don't ask me why, but I do remember it. Maybe it was COVID. I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, we have to hope that we have enough people, or that there are enough people that will be for it, right? For whatever their reason is, whether they're for it or whether they can't afford to be against it. I don't care, as long as they vote for change. That's, that's definitely where I am. I wanted to read you a few things that Gisele had to say in her testimony. She said, "When you're raped, there is shame, and it's not for us to have shame. It's for them. I wanted all women victims of rape, not just when they've been drugged. Rape exists at all levels. I want those women to say, Madame Pelicot did it. We can do it too." How powerful is that? Speaking to all of us from the stand like that. She went on to say, let me get to my correct one here. She's been commended a lot for being brave. And she said, "It's true, I hear lots of women and men who say you're very brave. I say it's not bravery, it's will and determination to change society." And that I had read before. Let's see if there's any here. Yeah, it's not courage, it's determination to change things. This is not just my battle, but that of all rape victims. I've decided not to be ashamed. I've done nothing wrong. I want that on a t-shirt. I want that on a t-shirt. I've decided not to be ashamed. I've done nothing wrong. If you ever find yourself thinking about your own abuse, whether that's physical, sexual, emotional abuse, it doesn't matter. When you think about that, especially if it's any sexual abuse, any physical, emotional abuse when you were a child, when you were an adult, if you were in a toxic relationship, it's the abuser's fault, not yours. I absolutely, absolutely love that. I've decided not to be ashamed. I've done nothing wrong. Oh my gosh, Misha, you're writing a chapter for 2 SA books, and that is powerful. She is inspiring. She is indeed. I want to get her testimony. I looked for it. Basically, somebody would have had to either videotape or record her verbal testimony, her live testimony, and then transcribe it. I don't think that they would have transcribed it already through the court as a matter of course, at least in the U.S., unless there's a reason to have the testimony transcribed. They're not until it's requested. Exactly. Exactly. We will give her the quote. I've decided not to be ashamed. I've done nothing wrong. Gisele Pelicot. And I can't make those little pretty dashes that she has over her name. We'll have to do that a different time. Although Janet did it on the thumbnail that she made, so it's perfect there. Mock says, even if it's just a general strike, most women, it changed Iceland's evolution to gender equality big time in just one strike. Yeah, you never know what's going to spark a movement. You know, they say, the French commentators are saying, you know, watershed moment and, you know, a change in history is being seen, or phrases that are being bandied around quite a bit around this rape trial. But really, I think you are watching history in the making. We've still got months of testimony. Months. This is going to be going on a while. And so there's this you're going to see, I think, a lot of this, and it'll be interesting to see how things go after the judgment comes down. I mean, some people I don't expect there to be very many not guilty verdicts, but if they are, it's going to be because they didn't have video on them, right? I mean, I'm hoping it's not going to be because, well, they didn't need or they didn't have consent because, or, you know, any of those mitigating type sentences. I don't want to hear any of them. So we'll see. But how much outrage there still is afterwards will depend on, you know, how the movement keeps going and the wave and how quick they're able to potentially make some change. Mad French people are a force to be reckoned with. You are correct. And the fact that they love injustices to get behind, this is perfect, right? This is absolutely perfect because, and the reason they keep saying, well, it's a watershed moment, we are seeing history, is because everyday people are seeing that it's everyday people who are their abusers. And the ones of us who have been saying it all along, or the ones of us who have known it but have never said anything all along, are going, yeah, duh. But it's like, oh, you finally get it now, right? You're hearing this for the first time, or maybe for the first time you hearing it just makes it real because you've got so many defendants. 50 defendants. 15 had already pled guilty. 15, including the husband, already pled guilty here. What more of a perfect husband could you have wanted? I mean, he wasn't perfect. Don't get it wrong. And she's the first to admit, you know, he wasn't perfect. He had shortcomings and he'd have a short temper with some things. But in looking back to it, she wonders if any of those times, or if most of those times, or times she was getting too close to the truth about something, accidentally, of course. You know, who knows? We'll see what happens with this. I am definitely looking forward to seeing her march. As far as we know, for her, this is not a one and done. She is giving her all for this, so she, you know, may take some time for herself, but I do see her picking up the mantle again. She's made no promises beyond the trial of actually what she might do that I know of. If I'm wrong, please, please, please let me know in a comment. And that could change, right? That can certainly change for her. She may decide that, yeah, this is my purpose, and I have a calling, and wasn't what I expected my life to be. I expected to live it out in merry harmony with my husband of 50 years and let it be 60 and grace of God go us 670 or whatever, but life has taken a different path, and this is where I'm needed in the universe, and so that's where she's going to go. Definitely can see her doing that. So, but we'll see. We shall see. Your cat walked in. Yeah, my door's pretty much closed right now, so I think they're sleeping. David's not here. My son's not here. Oh, shout out to my son's girlfriend, Sammy. She's poked her head on the channel before, so I don't feel bad saying her name. It is her 19th birthday today, guys. It's her 20th birthday. Oh my gosh, it's her 20th birthday. Right? It's her 20th birthday. Okay, 19 or 20. Now I can't remember. She's 1 year older than my son, but I'm not sure how her birthday falls. Anyway, she's getting another tattoo today. I can't wait to see it. We don't know where it is or what it is or how big it is, so this will be a surprise. So I'm sure my son will send me pictures later on today. Happens that a friend of theirs is also throwing a Halloween bash, and it's her birthday, so they're having a birthday Halloween bash, so it should be an awesome time. I'm thrilled for him, and thrilled that they get a chance to do that kind of stuff. And they are within a week of their year anniversary together as well. So here, I will drink to that for them as well. You got that right, Mark. I was so bummed that I didn't know that I didn't know she was going. Otherwise, I would have gone with her. I have a tattoo that I've been wanting to get, and originally it was when I lost the weight, and then I lost the weight and I just didn't go. And sometimes it was, well, I didn't have the money, or the person I wanted to go with wasn't available, all those kind of things. Well, now I gained the weight back again, and it's like, well, do I go when I get skinny again? Or I think the way, because of the letters that I'm getting, it's not going to matter much. It's not like I'm going to stretch them out or they're going to shrink up to nothing with the amount of weight that I'm losing. So I don't know. We'll see when I have. We'll see when we get it done. We'll eventually get it done. I like this, Mark. Speaking of Gisele, she chose that fight, and she won't just watch it happen. She's a betrayed French woman. And betrayed she is, right? I mean, can you imagine? My heart goes out to her. In a way, if this were to happen to me, I think it's probably pretty similar that I want to find out, like, all at once, like that, like the depth of how much it was, just to have it just boom, put in my lap. Because I guarantee you there's a big part of her that's probably just gone boom, too much to deal with, cannot compute. I mean, that level of betrayal is beyond, I think, whatever anyone can rationalize. You just do so much, so it's easy. I just think it would be easier to go forward. You're working on it. Yes, you're working through the feelings of it, but to look through it piece by piece, I don't know. I think I'd have to deal with it just as a whole and not look really hard at any one individual rate, whether that was in my mind or whether, I'm sure she's not referring to the videos or anything, but because they had to show her, so she got to see herself. And I do still think it'd be easier to deal with just kind of all at once. Max says it would be a scorched earth in a controlled, tactical way if someone did that to me. Yeah, and I think you'd be hard pressed to find many people who would feel bad for your target. Right? It just is one of those things. Again, that's why this has been the beginning of such a movement in France, because the everyday person can see how such an everyday person can be such an incredible monster, and how all these other people can be such incredible monsters. There's professional people, there were lay people, we're talking, teachers and a professor and a plumber and an IT person. And, it just was everybody, a smattering from society, a true representation across the board. I think he had the one guy who was in his 30s who was still in his mom's basement, right? His parents' basement. But then you had all the other people who were just, your dentist. I mean, truly. So to walk around in your village and to look at people and go, I wonder if they were one too. There's a particular website that catered to this. It's now shut down. But it definitely would be, gosh, I wonder if they were on this. I want, how many people did know about this? How many people did know about her and being able to essay her in this village who have not come forward, who they don't have video evidence of? How many people told their brother or told their nephew or told their coworker, or, so how many people found out about it but did nothing about the information because thought that they were joking, or, thought they couldn't be serious. Somebody said something during a drunken incident. They got drunk and with their buddies and they said something. I wonder how many people actually knew when it comes down to it. And I can guarantee you that a lot of people probably didn't put a whole lot of thought into is she okay with this? Because as you were explaining, as they were explaining this, and this was coming out, that was the one guy, I think there was only one defendant out of the 50 actually said, she's out. I mean, like she's out. She's okay with this. And the husband's like, yeah, this is our game. This is part of the game. So she's totally out when you're here. And it was his fault not to look beyond that. To go ahead and take that as his green light to go. But one person. And I know I'm just repeating myself now. But I'm just so happy that this is happening. Because you never know what it's going to spark. You think of the Arab Spring and just when that fever hits, right? Maybe this will spark something. Maybe there'll be a trial somewhere else. And the same type of movement will start with them. Hopefully the facts won't be as horrendous. But if this can spark movements from country to country to country, yes! Yes! Who wouldn't want that? I just throw my hands up and say hallelujah. So, no, Mark, they did not want an actual person to have sex with. You're right. They wanted a doll. And that's why, Gisele was agog that anyone could have thought that she was just asleep or that she was pretending to be asleep. By the way that when we looked on the video, I guess the way that they were moving her around, it was absolutely apparent that this person is unconscious, that they're knocked out, that somebody who was being moved around and knocked around that much would have woken up, would have at least, if they were pretending to be asleep, would have opened their eyes at that point, or you'd see them flutter or something. She's just like nothing, no eye movement whatsoever. And just, with the arms and everything. So it's their defense. It's all they got. And so most of the defendants are, going the I didn't know route. I didn't know there wasn't consent because, he said it was okay. He said it was their game. And therefore, it's not my fault. Yeah, that's where we've got our defendants right now. They got nothing else. They're on video. They literally have no other way out. So we'll see. And as I said, I'm not familiar with French law, so I don't know how much time that these guys can get. I think 15 years was the most. Don't quote me on that. Last time, I just am thinking about that. Just seems to be pulling from my brain from when I was researching this the first time. Exactly, Mock. Body tension is a telltale sign. If there's absolutely no body tension, then you can tell the person is just totally unconscious. They're not pretending or faking anything. Just gone. Did you know that lack of body tension can actually help you in a severe fall? People have fallen from decent heights sometimes they've been unconscious that saved their lives because their bodies were jelly, so they just kind of went with the motion of the fall and everything, and they didn't tense up, so they didn't have that quite that jarring motion. Yeah, that some people could just think that one person speaks for the other. But you look at a patriarchal society like that too, and especially where you've got a husband the husband works, the wife stays home, your typical nuclear family. And yeah. And she's, even she says it was my trust. It was my submissiveness that just was naturally part of our roles. We had very typical household roles that allowed for him to be able to slip me this medication so easy. Again, when they said, how could he just do this and get away with it? And you never know for how many years? It's like trust. I trusted him completely. Max says 15 years is pretty normal for a non-capital crime as a maximum in a lot of Europe. Okay. Well, good. At least I'm not, out of the realm of possibility. Yeah, DeAndre, the whole thing is lack of consent. That's what everybody's. That's what their defense is around. I didn't need consent, I got consent, and that consent was enough. So, all right. Bye, Misha. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. I'm just about to wrap up anyway. Oh my goodness. And I got to get this drink out of my hand away from my hand because I've almost knocked it over 3 times. Okay. Well, I told you once, I'm telling you again, am going to follow this trial. I want to see where it ends. I want to see what kind of movement they have after it ends. We're going to be looking at probably right around Christmas time, this ending. I'm not sure if before or after. So maybe this will be a very nice Christmas present for that family that has been absolutely torn apart by what this husband did. Because don't forget, I mentioned that other family members have been victimized as well. The daughter, they had a daughter and two sons. The daughter was also videotaped unconscious. I do not know, I still do not know whether or not he SA'd her, but he certainly filmed her naked, unconscious, had given her medication, obviously, where he was moving her around. So it's obvious she is 100% unconscious. And then also filmed other family members naked, including the daughter as well, again, with hidden cameras that were hidden. Hidden cameras that were hidden. Really? You don't say. I know, right? Oh, my Lord. I love myself sometimes. Cameras that he hid throughout the house, including the bathroom, the guest bedrooms, where he could watch over. He obviously was a sick individual. He obviously has an addiction. When you're going to these lengths to videotape other people in your family so that you can get material for yourself, this is a sexual addiction. This is a big sexual problem, right? This is not anything normal. Exactly right. These offenders cared more about fulfilling their fantasy, satisfying their needs, than ensuring that they had consent from all parties involved. Right? Bottom line. And really, I think when it comes down to it, absolutely every single one of them are going to tell you the same thing if they were honest with themselves. Because I'll leave you with this as well. It's not like the people involved, those 50 people, it's not like all of them only SA'd her one time. Yeah, no. There were many of them who had SA'd her on multiple different occasions. Yeah. So there were many times, many opportunities that they had to discuss through their texting. They didn't care. They're going to get their due. They're going to get their due. They have to. There's too much, there's too much anger and outrage about this case I think for anything less than the maximum for all of these guys. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. I am definitely invested and very interested. Mark, I got to figure out how to get you to mail me some German wine or some tea. I'll pay you. Maybe we can do this through PayPal. I've started a little wine collection, guys. It's mine. It's all mine. It's just mine. I think I may have said that earlier. I lose track of things when I keep talking about them for certain. But yeah, I'd love to collect some from around the globe. I'm going to get some from Canada and, of course, US. But I'd love to collect some from places where people actually are. That would be wonderful. And these are going to be bottles that will just continue to age. These will not be bottles that I'd be opening. They will have a very, very, very sentimental meaning for me. So, but perfectly willing to pay for them. So if you guys know of some winery that you happen to like, or is nearby or whatever, and you want to help contribute to the cause, let me know, and we can arrange something. With that, I'm going to leave you for the day. I'm going to get on with the rest of my Saturday. I've got some more things with the channel that I am going to do. Took some pork steaks out for dinner, so I got to figure out what I'm going to do with them. South African wine is fantastic. That's so interesting that you say that. I honestly don't know if I've ever had it. I have seen it. I've been in some very big liquor warehouse. They almost look like distributorships, like they're so large, right? But you can actually have retail there. Excuse me. And one of them, I got to find another one of these. They actually had like, little spigots and little tasting cups in the different areas. So you could try French wine, try a couple Italian wines. And so in each area that they had stuff, they had these little things. I was so sloshed by the time I got out of there. Thankfully, the person I was with did not like wine half as much as I did. I was so toasted. It was in Chicago. It's not there anymore. They closed up a few years ago. I'm so sad. It's the ideal climate for wine. Well, I'm definitely going to have to look into this, DeAudrey. You're going to have to, if you know of any brands, email me, all right? I'd love to hear from you. This would be fabulous as I start to build up my collection with this. There'll be things that I'll have to look for. I'm excited. David's going to build me some shelves at some point in time. Whether they get done before or after he gets back from Florida, who knows? But definitely going to have a wine rack of some sort built. So, all right. I have some other topics that I do want to talk about. Avoidance symptoms is one of them that I want to talk about here coming up. And we'll see what else happens with this Pelicot case. Something major comes in, I will definitely break into our regular scheduled programming, whatever that happens to be, and we'll let you know and we'll update you with that. So, all right, with that, I bid you adieu. You guys have a great rest of your weekend, okay? I will see you Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please hit that like button. Share this video with anybody you think might be interested. If they like true crime, if they think they might be interested in just, the whole SA movement, Me Too movement, please share it. It helps push the word out. And same with the like and comment. That helps the algorithm. Says, oh, people are interested in this. Maybe more people should watch it. And it pushes it out to more people. So, I have one other potential announcement, which I think will be on Wednesday, or it will be next week, Saturday. It's upcoming. I have some good news, guys. How about that? It'll be a little teaser for you. So either Wednesday or next Saturday with our laughter show. I'll bring it up. So there you go, a little teaser. Da, 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 da. All right, guys. Mwah. Hugs and love to all of you. Remember, you are worthy. You are valuable. You are strong because you are a survivor. Most of all, you're loved. Just the way you are for who you are. Bye for now. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Take care.